gentlemen, let's not waste any more time as I welcome our next round of panelists onto our stage. Please put your hands together for Darshana Shah, Head of Marketing and Customer Experience at Aditya Birla Capital. Welcome back onto the stage, ma'am. We are also joined by Pawan Bansal, COO Jagran Engage and Chairman of Indian Outdoor Advertising Association. We also have with us Noomi Mehta, Chairman of the Board, Selvel One Group. And we also have with us Jahan Mehta, Chief Growth Officer at Oap Mediatech. I'm also going to now request and invite our moderator for this session, Mr. Sam Balsara, Founder, Chairman and Managing Director, Madison World Madison Communications.
On the positive side, OH is a $50 billion industry. So there's a lot of headroom. In India, it's doing particularly well, especially post-COVID. I think we've been growing at the rate of about 13%. So that's very good news for a lot of people on the dais. But of course, you know, as we all know, we live in a VUCA world, and more so when it comes to outdoor. Because there's never a dull moment in outdoor. There's excitement all the time. Something or the other is happening. And on that note, I think I would like to salute all the people in the outdoor industry for navigating all the challenges over all these years and still coming out successful. So on that note, let me start with my first question to Darshana, because she controls the big bucks. So the Birla Group spends a humongous amount of money on advertising, and I know you believe in the power of outdoor. So what stops you from spending more on outdoor, or what is it that comes in the way? If you could enlighten us on what we can do so that you can look at outdoor a little more differently, more positively, and derive the power of outdoor more for the Birla Group.
No, thanks, Sam. And I think lots have changed. If I call myself a first-generation marketeer, starting from large screen and outdoor just being a recall medium, 26 years. Today, too, outdoor itself can be your first go-to medium. I think there, kudos to the industry, because now you have Roadstar as your tool. We can, the measurement, see what was missing earlier, the big problem was measurement. Now we can at least, you have a digital way of measuring, there is impression, and you can do multi-screen geotagging. So my recent campaign, so what has changed is, from, and at least the way I look at outdoor now, and I think you can achieve your 10% target easily, is if we first make outdoor more first medium and not just a recall medium. That's what we've done in some of our campaigns where we have used outdoor extensively. And when I mean outdoor, it's not just hoarding, because now you also have airport and you also have metro, and I'm combining all of that, Sam. So with that, and your digital, what really excites me and my team is that there's a lot of digital outdoor. So what I can do is I can actually create that 10-seconders. I can create a product, so you don't have to create your same television campaign into a static outdoor anymore, but you can run a 10-second feature. And that's what worked very well in one of my campaigns. We had Vikrant Massey as a face, we had a celebrity, so we had everything right. Product was fantastic. I literally used outdoor as becoming my feature. Whilst main campaign had the story, in outdoor I could take 10-second feature and really make the digital outdoor work for me. I could also do that if you are passing by, use the geotagging and put a message on the screen. So now I can also measure the clickability. So like digital, outdoor does not become just a static medium anymore. I could convert and measure it into, traffic on website, clicks on my landing page. And this is what makes it more exciting for us. Where I see the challenge still, though, is not at every site. And, the planning is still, because there's so much more, what you see on a PPT to what is actually happening. So that's one area that we need to get right, and how. With the creative has to be right. How many creative agency people here? Because I think some of the onus lies on a lot of onus lies on the creative side. How do you adapt to the medium and not just create an edit or a static of your main messaging? How do you make it more and more consumer, adapting so that the consumer who's going there in that traffic, moving, what are they going to see? So that's sort of, and I keep beating my agency to it also, that how do you adapt to the medium and not just give me the cut of that. Secondly, now you have CGIs, you have anamorphic, and I have done a lot of work with your guys to try the three-dimensional thing happening, and it is fantastic. So how do we use technology? How do we use measurement? And yes, I have the money. Because we have a lot of, and I was just telling them that we do, I'm in finance, so we do have a lot of investor education money. And that's where we do a lot of outdoor. So Sam, it is possible. I think the creative guys will have to come together, and the more and more digital outdoor that we can convert to is interesting things that we can do with outdoor today.
Wonderful, Darshana. That's, I think, very good to hear for the outdoor people in this room. So, Pawan, let me come to you. You now wear a thorny crown, having taken over from Noomi as the president of the Indian Outdoor Advertisers, Indian Outdoor Association. And I think Noomi has done a wonderful job of, getting this fledgling organization off the ground by getting members on. So, taking a broader view, what are your plans as IOAA to take this industry up from 4% to 10%? As you know, you have a lot of stiff competition. There is Google, there's Facebook, there's Star, there's the Times of India group, all of them fighting really hard for that same pie of about 110,000 crores that we spend in Indian ADEX. So, can you briefly outline some of the things that you are doing and you will do over the next 6 months on getting a bigger share of that pie?
First of all, we would hire Darshana as a brand ambassador.
She's very expensive, let me tell you that. You won't be able to afford her.
An expensive date.
Yes. Sam, there's a lot of things which the association is planning to do for the out-of-home industry. First of all, as Darshana said, that we have launched the planning tool, which is Roadstar. So over the years, last 15 years, I've been hearing there's no data, no measurement, nothing for out-of-home. Okay. So we made a dedicated effort to actually make a tool which the clients and agencies can use actually to plan an outdoor campaign. It'll give you reach, frequency, and impressions. And I think so once the 3 or 5 agencies and all the other independent agencies start using it, I think so it'll do a drastic change to the whole ecosystem of out-of-home advertising. We want to bring in more transparency into the business. What we are planning to do now is that we are going to, like what we did with BMC yesterday was, we said, you please give us a list of all your sanctioned sites in MCGM area. We will publish that on our website. So the client and the agencies know what they are dealing with. Is it legal, not legal, okay? So these are the few steps which from the association side we are going to take, okay? And I think going forward, we've made a 100-day plan which encompasses all these things, measurability, adopting best practices and common standards, as well as sustainability. And we are going to implement that. Only thing what we require from 3 of us is a little nudge to the media owners who are still not part of IOAA, that you will only buy from media owners who are IOAA members.
So what specific help do you need from, say, 3 of I member agencies in this respect?
So a letter from the president or you, Sam, going to the media owners and also instructing your out-of-home agency heads saying that buy only from IOAA accredited media owners, and then you will see that the sea change which will come in the ecosystem. So because the thing is, once people become our members, then I think so whatever has happened in Ghatkopar, we feel that it will not be repeated.
So that's wonderful to hear, very, very encouraging. Did you want to say something?
I wanted to ask, so how as a client would I know that is my site bought from an IOAA certified? Is there a way then for us to know?
So Darshana, as I said, we will be publishing all this data on our website. And that will be open to the public. Okay. In fact, going further, we will also say the permissions, the structural stability of that particular site will also be loaded on that. So you'll know whether this site has been passed from the municipality, whether it has a structural stability certificate with it. Yes, it will require time, but we are saying that we will start with Mumbai first and then go to Delhi, and then maybe roll it down to the top 50 markets across India. Yes.
So, Noomi, I'll come to you last. I'll save you for the last. Jahan. Jahan is the growth officer of the fast-growing OAP. So, Jahan, what has been your experience in terms of, selling bigger plans and getting more non-OH advertisers into OH? Can you share some thoughts with these gentlemen as to what they should do so that, more and more advertisers use outdoor?
So I would actually break that up into three parts. And the first one is already covered with the audience measurement with Roadstar. It's a fantastic tool. I think we were one of the early adopters, and we've seen a huge spike in our revenue thanks to it. Because it's taken the conversation away from that dreaded Excel sheet and rates to reach, frequency, and impressions. So that's been a big plus, and we must strengthen that even further. The second, I would say, is if you have an all-India third-party proof of performance, because each agency has their own proof of performance agency and an app which they click. So we would actually all save money, and perhaps that could be the base for the AdX for our industry, because out-of-home is very local, so you don't have a number of the national advertisers. So when you do an AdX, which mostly has all the national advertisers, out-of-home takes a bit of a beating, because I think we'd probably get maybe another 40% of our share increase. And the third, which is a bit tricky, would be to get onto an automated sales platform, where we can all see the availability of a site like you do of a hotel room, and we can book online. Because today, if I do, say, a 20-city campaign and I have to speak to, say, 10 media owners in each city, that's 200 phone calls. So I take that, then I go to the client says, okay, this is the list. I go back to the 200. So I do this. So I do about 1,000 phone calls for each campaign. Now that, if I can put onto an automated app, that would be significant.
Okay, that's, I think, wonderful and very practical, down-to-earth ideas for the growth of the OH industry. Noomi, now let me come to you. So, you have been a veteran of this industry, and you have kind of been through a lot of challenges. Let me first ask you, before jumping into the details, do you see finally that a lot of our problems are behind us and we are now on the cusp of very high growth, or do you see more challenges ahead?
Sam, I couldn't help but notice this entire Goa Fest is about adaptability. And if adaptability has to be explained, it can best be explained by an outdoor person. We've had to adapt to changing circumstances, and now finally we find we have to adapt to find a system to regulate the regulators. You had mentioned the recent tragedy. My own reaction is one of rage, of terrific anger. How can such a thing have been allowed between two government departments shuffling papers between each other? The site in question is 120 feet by 140 feet, which is definitely over 16,000 square feet, bigger than anyone's house, I presume. It was put up without any regulation. He says he's invested 27 tons in steel to put up that structure. Well, let me explain like for like. There is another structure, 120 by 120 on railway property. That site has got 700 tons of steel in it. It is built 35 meters into the ground for support. That guy pays almost ₹1 crore a month by way of rent.
To the railways?
Yes.
And this other site?
And this other site had 27 tons of steel for 120 by 140, boasting as Asia's largest, without any regulation and permission. Now, how are we, who want to follow all the rules, who want to, espouse the cause of outdoor, what are we supposed to do? How can we compete against such a guy? If he has to sell a site to a client, he'll sell it for less than 30% and still make a handsome profit. Whereas anybody who is serious about the business will find it almost impossible. So if outdoor has to prosper, we have to manage these fringe players who use political influence and money to bypass everything. India itself is a country which is facing this repeatedly in all spheres, whether it's in a gaming center in Rajkot, whether it's in Delhi, where you name it, it's happening. People are bypassing the regulation system. I think the country itself needs to get serious about it. The citizens need to get serious about it. From the outdoor perspective, we need all the help we can get to bring these people to book. We've offered our help to the regulators, which is the BMC, the railways. The railways claim their structures are much stronger than even the BMC requirements. But the point is he avoided both. Now, in such a situation, for us to respond, we need to be able to block them not only at the regulatory level, but also at the commercial level. And that's where we need to get together, which I mean all the stakeholders, the media owners, the agencies, as well as the client, to understand, look, certain things must be off the table. You cannot and must not encourage them.
Good. So on a closing note, I think let's hope that when we meet again in next Goa Fest, all this is behind us and we're inching closer to our goal of 10% share of ADEX. Thank you very much, everyone.
Cheers.
Thank you, sir.